Hey, hi there, French vinyl addict coming out on another video. Finally, after a couple of weeks summer break, I'm able to hop on a thread, the 10 records I listen to the most thread. Long Chris came up with the idea, so thank you, thanks to him. Today's my attempt. Ready? Let's go. Yeah, 10 records I listen to the most. Very interesting subject. The one I would like to start with is that one. This is Yes. This is the Yes album. The first Yes record I bought. This album was released in 1971, early 71. This is the band's third album. They have shown a great improvement with, as it's their first real prog album, I would say. The first one featuring Steve Howe on guitar, as Peter Banks was asked to leave the band the previous year. And the last one with Tony Kaye on keyboard as well, as he will be replaced by Rick Wakeman on the next one, Fragile. It's not my favorite or the most iconic record of all the great prog album they've made, though I think they completed a milestone, as it is a qualitative leap into instrumental brilliance, as well as greater know-how into building extended tracks. What I love about that album is, even if it's a transition one, it's a transition album. It is a charmer. It's spontaneous. Nothing is over complicated. You can tell the sophistication is the nifty juxtaposition of the sequences, and subtle variation in arrangement. Really, really great record, the Yes album. The next one is another iconic prog album from the 70s. This is that one. This is Yes, Selling England by the Pound. That one got me hooked in early Genesis era. This is released exactly 50 years ago. Can you believe that? This is the second last featuring Peter Gabriel, as he will be leaving Genesis right after the band had finished touring The Lamb. One of my favorite Genesis album of all times. Well, certainly in my top five. Really stood the test of time. It sounds a bit more modern when compared to the previous one, Foxtrot, mainly because Tony Banks had incorporated an ARP, a Pro Soloist synthesizer, into his arsenal, and Steve Hackett was experimenting with all sorts of effects to transform the sound of his guitar. Plus, their producer, Mr. Burns, John Burns, I guess he named, he grasped the aesthetic and the essence of Genesis, which makes this album a treat for the ears, my opinion, and contains a lot of great songs. The Cinema Show, masterpiece. I Know What I Like in Your Wardrobe, First of Fifth, amazing. So a brilliant prog album. Next, on to next. This is another classic, considered by many as a founding act of the genre. We are talking about prog rock. We are talking about King Crimson in the Court of Crimson King. What more can we say? It's if you love prog rock, you know every hook and cranny of this masterpieces of this masterpiece, rich of extended and structured section, massive use of mellotron, Greg Lake's voice, very unique, sounds very well educated and melodic at the same time. This album was a huge source of inspiration for all the generation to come. King Crimson in the Court of Crimson King. We're moving forward in the next decade. This is something different. This is a Human League. This is there. The first time I listened to that one, I thought, hey, do I just bought a greatest hit something, or a best of Human League? As every song was great on that one. Don't You Want Me is the most famous one, but Love Action, it's early 80s. They just restructured the band, as they just added the two young ladies, and yeah, so it's Human League album called Dare. It's released in 1981. Another band, also where they were topping the bill at the same time in TV show, UK TV show Top of the Pops, and quite also inspired by works from Kraftwerk. This is OMD. This is Organization, Orchestral Maneuver in the Dark. Interesting album. Architecture and Morality is often considered as their best work. I would agree, though I really like the atmosphere, melancholic atmosphere on that one. It's interesting. Niam the prog nerd, she's got a channel, Young Ladies. She talks about prog rock. She made a couple of years ago. She made a special video with her father, and he were mentioning at the time all the great albums he loved and he still loves, I guess. So and he was mentioning that one in particular. So it made me curious and really really nice. I have this is the UK press, one of the original. I also have this one in Japanese press. Sounds amazing. This is a OMD Organization. On to the next, we are back in the early 70s. This is a Grand Funk Railroad, a power trio from Detroit, like the Stooges, like the MC5. Even though we don't often mention, we don't, no mention is often made about how great this band they were back in the days. Red Album, incredible. They were a three-piece member. I think the fourth member named Ultra Amplification. No, it's really cool. I really like that one. I've been looking for that record for 2 years before being finally able to get a hold of a copy. This one I got is a French press, and I love that one. Inside Looking Out. This is a cover version originally by the Animals, and Paranoid. What a great song! What a great. It's powerful. It's I love the music from the 70s. Probably one of my favorite U.S. rock band from the 70s. Grand Funk Railroad, the Red Album. So and this is a special shout out for a friend of mine, a French YouTuber, Vinyl Mood. Ben, this is something for you. If I know you are looking to explore the 70s rock. Ça c'est quelque chose pour toi. Thank you. The next one is Cream, Disraeli Gears, 1967 power trio as well. Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, Jack Bruce, psychedelic rock, Hard Bruise. A lot of great songs as well. Sunshine of Your Love, Strange Brew, Tales of Brave Ulysses. They recorded that one in New York in '67. One of my favorite record ever. Next one is Beggars Opera, Warriors of Change. I already talked about that one in my Dark Secret video. This is a obscure early 70s band, prog-ish. They had Mellotron. You have keyboard on that one. The singer has a very special and nice voice. It's in like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, if you want. So really cool. This is a reissue from on a Karma label. Sometimes you can find some reissue. So I mean original reissue. Lately came across a German press, some German press on the Vertigo label. But yeah, it's very hard to find a UK original press. It's not impossible, but yeah, this is one of my favorite, let's say favorite obscure stuff album. Next one is not obscure, is something that you might recognize. This is the Small Faces. This is the last album they made before they disbanded. Small Faces, they were a quirky, offbeat, typical British band. Lazy Sunday Afternoon, you know that one. On side two, you have a certain sort of a concept album. Happiness Stan is looking for the other part of the moon. Very, very strange. I really like the atmosphere. I really like their Britishness, I would say, the way they have the British accent, the English Cockney accent, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Small Faces, cannot pronounce the name of that album, but everyone knows about yeah, Lazy Sunday Afternoon, and Happiness Stand. That's inside too. Song of a Baker is also a great track, and really like this one. On to the next. That's the Who, 1966. I really like this album as well. Not as great as Who's Next or Tommy. You don't have these massive hits, though I really like the atmosphere, the festive atmosphere on that record. um, Boris the Spider, I Need You. Uh, it's they. I think they wanted to explore something different at the time, and it's a success. It's not a fail. It's interesting. It's not their famous record. They made so many great records. I think between 1965 and 1974, up until Quadrophenia. So we tend to remember Tommy and the Who's Next stuff. But I think it's a try. It's worthwhile to rediscover that one. This is Pink Floyd. This is Pink Floyd's first album, first era with not Peter Gabriel, with with Sid Barrett. This is the only album you can enjoy how great, how genius Sid Barrett was. On the second album they made, you find maybe one song he wrote and he sings on it. It's interesting. It's very interesting because they were the most underground band in London, playing in the UFO club at the time, and yeah, it's how what can I say? I like psychedelic rock. Um, of course, I prefer the Pink Floyd when they were doing all this metal, wish you were here stuff. Way different. It's almost another band. Maybe like, I don't know if it's Joy Division, New Order. And, don't blame me if I say something stupid, but you know what I think. It's Dark Side of the Moon wasn't the Sid Barrett kind of stuff. Okay, they just added David Gilmour. It was still the same band, but it's very different than what they will be made in the next on the next album. I would say right after Saucer Full of Secret, which is the second one. I rediscovered that one maybe, yeah, 2 years ago, and I was amazed by the quality, by the creativity they had. And it's crazy. They recorded that album in Abbey Road in the studio number 4, at the same time as the Beatles were recording Sergeant Pepper in the studio number 2 in Abbey Road. It's crazy. So this is Pink Floyd's Piper at the Gates of Dawn, the first album. And last but not least, on the 10 records I listen to the most, this is Dark Side of the Moon. This is Pink Floyd. We just talk about Pink Floyd. This is what more can we say? I'm amazed every time I listen to the side 2 of that album. I let myself carried away every time. I'm just relaxing, trying to forget about the week I just had at work, and it's a success every time. It's a success. A lot of people knows about that record, and it's great. This is what I find interesting, that the younger generation, this album turned 50 years, as you know, but a lot of people, younger generation, they now have a chance to rediscover that. The ancient, the former generation, sorry, jazz lover, they knew about that album as well, Metalhead, and this is something I find very interesting. That this is like universal. So this is Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon. So this is it. Not easy to come up with a list of 10 records I listen to the most. I think I managed to do a proper selection. I focused on on the past 5 years. I don't have a spreadsheet or a list like Søren does. But I think, yeah, and I also wanted to focus on vinyl records. So, and I hope you like it. How about yours? I'm talking to you guys. It's amazing to see a lot of people coming from all over the world. UK, US, Canada, France, Germany. I know some people, they know that I speak German, so they write me in German. It's very fun. So how about your selection? For those who doesn't have yet made a list or a video about the 10 records that you listen to the most. How about you? I'm very curious. It's a very cool challenge. Uh, Hope you guys really like it, enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by, and stay tuned for the next chapter. Bye bye.